All right. Today's confusing. Ah, frick! I forgot to mute my phone again. Today's gonna be a little confusing. Um, well, I guess not really. It's all really confusing for me because I'm just not sure what to do today. So I did talk about. Ah, I did talk about last stream, which was on Tuesday, that I wasn't completely sure what I was gonna do today on moving forward, but that I had some ideas. Um, so with that said, when I kind of sat down yesterday and I was like, "Am I gonna stream?" and I was like, "No, I'm not going to," because I was picking up an extra shift, so that didn't happen. And today came around and I was like, "All right, what am I gonna do this morning? Am I gonna stream today?" And it's like, I'm not, I guess, but I don't know what to do. Cause normally in moments where I'm like, I know I should probably stream and do something, but like I don't feel like doing anything. If that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but sometimes when I start up stream and it's like I don't really feel like playing anything. And it's like those kind of streams which feel the weirdest to me because it feels like I'm streaming more out of obligation than because I actually want to. And this kind of does go into like my mentality of everything, which is streaming should be something that I just do because I enjoy doing. But at the same time, like keeping a schedule, like a steady schedule, does help a lot with consistency and growth and all that. So I've reached the point where, and this has happened multiple times in the past, where it's like, oh yeah, I should stream, but I don't really feel like it, or rather, I don't know what to do. Normally, this would be the just chatting sort of stream where I would open up Only Up, or in this case, Getting Over It, or Jump King, or I'd even open up Minecraft. I don't even have Minecraft installed on my current PC. I've yet to do that, which is why, and it would probably take like 30 minutes to an hour, and that would just be way too long to wait for. I could technically do it now, but I'm worried that it'll affect the stream in a negative way. So yeah, I'm in a little bit of a weird position with that said. Um, which is very weird to say the very least, but at the same time, um, I guess we can finally touch on a couple of random conversation topics. This is probably gonna be a short stream as well, I'm pretty sure. Uh, this is not gonna be the usual 3 to 4 hour streams. I'm aiming for like an hour, maybe two. We'll see how long I can yap for, essentially. I know I have a weird tendency whenever I do just chatting where it's like I can yap for long periods of time, but sometimes I just run out of things and it just ends, and I'm like, ah, frick. So we'll see how long this ends up taking. I might end up doing something random today, anyways. Like maybe I'll play OS or something. I'm not sure. But again, I don't really like streaming OS because it's hard to look at chat, and you know, it's weird. There's some games I like playing but not like streaming, and there's some games that like I like because of streaming. And games like Only Up, Jump King, and Getting Over It are like, I don't like them as games, but they're pretty good stream games, so I'll play them. But I just don't feel like playing Getting Over It. I just don't feel like it, man. Like, I think this is like the first time where I dread playing a game. I don't want to play Getting Over It, but at the same time, I want to beat the game. I really want to beat the game. Like I have some like games in my belt that I've beaten. Like I've beaten Only Up. I've beaten the first level of Jump King, and I struggle with the second one, and I may or may not return to it in the future. So I would like to believe that eventually I will be able to be Getting Over it. I just don't want to play it, man. It's not even like frustrating. It's just annoying to play. I don't know. We'll see. When eventually I'll get around to beating that game. Uh, but first and foremost, yeah, I am trying to keep a very consistent schedule, and I think the whole 3 streams a week thing has been working, which is the Tuesday, Thursday, Friday stuff. I might be picking up an extra shift here and there, which is going to sort of complicate things. Um, but I'm hopeful that at the very least I'll be able to keep up 2 streams a week, minimum 2. With 3 being like the goal. 3 is the goal. 2 is the bare minimum, I feel. Hence why I really felt obligated to stream today, because I didn't stream yesterday. But things are a little all over the place in regards to that. But that's about it on that perspective. I don't really like talking too much about like stream related stuff on stream because it's a really easy fruit to grab for me, and it's probably not very interesting topic to listen to. So, couple things. I did say this in the Discord. What the fudge? Sorry. I did say this in the Discord, but I am planning on doing some stream events. Or, not even stream events, just community stuff. Honestly, I might not even stream them. I might just, like, start up an event in the Discord and just do them through Discord rather than try and stream them. We'll see. It mostly depends on who's interested and like what we end up doing, and like if everyone is okay with being in a voice chat while I'm streaming, and if they aren't, then I guess again it doesn't really matter. The goal behind it is just to do something, because like one of the reasons why I have a Discord is for community building, but I haven't really been doing that recently. It was a lot better when I started the Discord and people were a lot more active and I was actively doing more stuff with people. But nowadays it's literally just become a thing where people would send like a message once a month, and then like 2 people would respond or have like a small conversation, and that would be it. As like if it happens once a month, it doesn't happen very frequently anymore, and it has pretty much just become a hub for people to be like, oh yeah, side streaming, and that's about it. So I kind of want to start up some very small community events. In the past, we try to do them once a week. I don't think I can do once a week, I'm gonna be honest with you, but I think we can try maybe once every 2 weeks or once a month. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see how that plays out. I'm also gonna have to see like how many people are actually interested in doing it, and like whether or not it's really worth doing. But even if like 1 or 2 or 3 people say they're interested, like that should be more than enough, honestly. I could probably like right now. Oh, I probably should mention this, huh? So on Epic Games, moving out is free. Yeah, moving out is free on Epic Games. And then after that, Witchit is free. And if you don't know what Witchit is it's a prop hunt game. It's literally just a prop hunt game, and that's going free in a few weeks. Plus, I have like Jackbox games, and then there are other free games such as like Fall Guys, for example. So there's a lot of options in terms of things that can be done, even with like a small group of people of like 3 to 4 to like a larger group of people. I highly doubt we're gonna get more than 4 people that are interested. The only people I can think of that are like truly genuinely interested in playing games and like hang out with people, maybe Habe, maybe Vekri or Vaker. I don't forget. I'm still trying to figure that out. Who else would be interested? I'm trying to think. If DD is available, maybe DD. But like most of the people in the past that were most interested in joining in on these sort of community events have sort of moved on with their lives for the most part. Such as Ray, such as Miso. Forever trying to remember how to no, I remember how to pronounce it now. It's just now I'm confused like which I prefer, because you say it's supposed to be Vickery, but because I remember when you mentioned it, it's supposed to be like Valkyrie, so Vakery, but I've been calling you Vaker for so long, so uh, so I think we're gonna start off. We're probably gonna start off with movies, honestly, because a while I did mention this in one of my old shorts that I made back in like January, but I found a old file that has a bunch of anime, specifically anime movies. I'd be open to watching stuff other than anime movies, but as of right now, it's just anime movies. Maybe I'll expand one day. Where the fudge is my list? That's not it. Is it here? Yeah, it's here. Yeah, so I have a bunch of random movies here that we could do. And even if nobody shows up and it's just me, hey, I'll watch the movie by myself happily. I will be more than happy to watch a movie all by myself. No complaints there. Of course, if people do show up, then that'll help. But I'm not a huge fan of watching movies as like a activity, like as like a group activity. I think it's fine to do it with people that you've hung out with very, very frequently, right? Like, oh, I talk to these people like decently, like often, like once a week even. And then like we just need something to do, like we need a reason to hang out. Let's just go watch a movie, talk about it afterwards, right? But like in terms of like as a general group thing, like because during a movie you don't talk very often. You usually like talk post movie, right? Like after the movie's done, that's when you start talking about it, assuming everyone has time to do that and all that. But like during the actual movie itself, you tend not to actually like talk and stuff. So watching movies has never been like my favorite group activity to do. It's nice to do with a group that you've, hung out with in the past, but it's something that I would not go to naturally. That's not the best way for me to have worded that, but I'm a loss of words for some reason. It's not like the natural course for me. I would rather like hang out with people by doing other things, such as playing games. And I think certain games are obviously better than others. When I first started streaming, I joined an Among Us lobby, and I've joined a Crab Game lobby. Crab Game was actually kind of an interesting game to play first time with a whole bunch of people I've never met before. It was actually very fun. I've never talked to like any of the people outside of that game because I actually did like make some acquaintances slash friends, but that didn't really last very long. So, but it was still pretty fun to play through. And Among Us as a game to play first time with people you've never met before. I'm not a big fan. You don't know when people are being serious. You don't, because you're meeting them for the first time. You don't know when people are like, genuinely upset if they're playing a bit, or like that, like when people are lying, and like you don't know whether you should be offended or anything. Like I think gaslighting people is not the best way to meet people for the first time. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. But I genuinely don't think that it's in everyone's best interest to meet each other for the first time and start gaslighting each other like straight off the bat, right? But with that said, I there are like options here, and it is something I'm kind of excited to start doing again, but I'm also like really worried because it's like, oh yeah, I mention it, but what if no one wants to do it? So if I know, but I mean like very few. But again, even if one or two people say yeah, then I mean it'll mean something, right? I'm sure I can drag some other people in there too. Like I'm sure I could convince Ori to show up. Or dang, I haven't talked to Kame in a while. Does Kame still stream? Cause I know there the couple of times that I've done stuff in the past, I've had Kame show up a few times. and we did a couple of things. I don't know if he still streams though. Does he? That's a good question. I know his time zone is a little bit weird too. I could probably check, to be honest with you. But even if he's like still around, that'd be cool to talk to Kame again. Again, I still have some connections from the past that I can utilize. Not many, mind you, but I have some connections I might be able to pull up after a long period of time and just be like, hey, you want to play some games? You want to do something? Even if it's not technically a community event, if everyone's willing to just be in a Discord call and just play games, that would be more than good enough, no? Like, okay, who else could I go for? Kakabel Aureus. Kame. Does Kame have like a full name? I actually don't remember. I think it was like El Kame. He's a Spanish streamer, but I mean, I've played games with him. He's a real chill dude. I really like hanging out with him. Is it just those two? Maybe. Honestly, yeah, it honestly might just be those two. Maybe I could drag Ren out. Maybe I could drag Ren out to do something. That'd be kind of funny. To grab Ren to do something. It's just those three. Maybe. Yeah, it might just be those three. Oh yeah, actually, there was something I was curious about. So, okay, I'm not gonna say anything until I confirm this because I probably shouldn't talk about this. Yeah, there's like some things I shouldn't talk about. But like, if everything's done and over with, it should be fine. Oh, did he? Oh wait, no. I'm looking at the wrong thing. It's right here. Yeah. Are you here? No. Did he delete his Twitter account? My goodness, I think he deleted his Twitter account. Deleted. Oh wow, that's Oh wait, no. There's one. I found one. That's a dead Twitter account though. Did he delete his other one though? There's no way he just straight up deleted it, right? Maybe he did. Oh no. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, I think he deleted it. Oh frick. That's crazy. Okay, so I guess it's okay to talk about it then. I'm not actually completely sure if it is, but I think it's okay now. I think he deleted it. Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. So, a while back, if for those of you who don't know, I was initially sorry, I like dragged that out super long. I apologize for that. I was a part of a VTuber group. It was not like an agency, it's not a corporation, nothing like that. It was very low key. It was like on the smaller end of things overall, right? It was basically on the way I always described it is it was a passion project. It was a passion project of between people that just really wanted to make a VTuber group. That was literally it. I found myself applying for it, and for some reason they accepted me. Hence why I'm here today, and I'm always forever grateful to them. I promise not to talk about it the group too much. Now that everything with it is done and over with, and I've already like kind of got everything off of my chest. And like I've specifically said, now that I have everything off my chest, I don't want to talk about it anymore, because I want to move on from it. But the reason I'm talking about it now is because it was not just me, right? There are 3 other dudes. There was Ren, there was Haru, and there was Aspen. Aspen. So the person I want to talk about is Aspen, and the reason is because Aspen, when we all like when the group disbanded, it silently fizzled away, and everyone was just disappeared except for me. I was the only one that continued to stream post LCN. Um, Aspen, he actually joined another group. He started, I don't even know if it was a group. He started VTubing under like a different name, I think. Yeah, no, he started VTubing under a different name. I think it was under a group or something. But essentially he started VTubing as a different VTuber altogether. I'm not gonna say who he was. Again, I'm not 100% sure I'm allowed to talk about this. So I'll just sort of, be a little bit more careful, and not say any like specifics. But I will, at the very least, say that he started VTubing as another person, and we still kept in contact. And we said like we should do stuff together, and we did. We played a couple of games together. It was actually pretty fun because I got to catch up with him. And in my mind I was thinking maybe I could talk to Aspen. Maybe I should call him up. That would be kind of funny. I think that would be kind of funny. Do I still have his? I don't even know if I can still like talk to him. Maybe not. It's been a really long time, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, regardless, that was all I really wanted to say. But he did VTube under a different name for a period of time, which was really, really cool. And he was around, but I guess he stopped. He's gone now. I know he graduated on his second name, or with his like second identity, but I didn't realize he just straight up deleted his Twitter account. So that's kind of funny. All right, well, that was my Twitter checkup of the year, because we all know that I look at my Twitter very, very frequently. All right. But yeah, no, I am considering doing more community stuff in the future. We'll see how that ends up going, but fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that something will show up. Worst case scenario, I start inflating my numbers by dragging some people I know into it. Honestly, if I message comment and he's still active, I wouldn't be surprised if he's down to do something. That man is chill, and it was fun. It's been a long time since it's been like a year since I last talked to him, but I'm sure as long as he didn't secretly hate me or anything, he'd be down. Ori, I assume, doesn't secretly hate me. I hope not anyways. We'll keep that in mind, I guess. If she does secretly hate me, then honestly, fair. That's very, very fair. I'll take it. Or I won't take it, but you know what? We've been through a lot. A lot of things could have changed. So yeah. And now we have reached the point where I've completely run out of things to talk about. Incredible. This is why just chatting is super freaking hard, dude. It's so hard to do just chatting. I should have just played a game. Maybe I'll just play some OS. I don't want to play OS on stream though. It'll like delete the freaking VOD and it's awful. The Steam World Heist stream where it kept cutting out, so I just started playing OS instead. I had to go back and mute some of the bits in that stream from YouTube because it got copyright struck and it said in certain parts of the world they're not allowed to show it, and I was like, frick. Dang it. I'm sure it doesn't really affect the people that watch my VODs or streams or anything anyways, but like I still wanted to like try and keep it consistent so that everyone always gets access to. So like I went back and did it, and it was like ugh. It's like so much work. And I don't know, man. It's like one of the reasons why it's really hard to play rhythm games like OS on stream, because OS, anyone can make a map and like everything's fine and whatnot. But if I were to play something like Muse Dash, for example, which I would maybe be willing to play something like Muse Dash or even Project Diva, but I don't have either of them installed into my computer. Like, what do I have installed on my computer right now? That I could play that isn't super intensive. Street Fighter, absolutely not. Mass Effect, no, because I'm not playing that on stream. Mechabellum, wait, Mechabellum? Do I play Mechabellum on stream? No, I don't think so. I'm currently playing this game with somebody else, and I want to try and like keep that consistent. So no, I won't play Mechabellum. Rusty's Retirement. That's not a real game. That's like a background thing that you just leave on. Actually, I guess technically speaking, we could work with that. But actually, why not? Why don't I just have Rusty's Retirement in the background? I need to farm scrap anyways. Mini Motorways. Wait, why do I have Mini Motorways installed on my computer? Dude, Mini Motorways stresses me out. It shouldn't. It's supposed to be like a chill game where you build roads and like, you know, the music is really supposed to be a vibe overall. But like once you reach a certain point, that game stresses me out. I don't like it. Or I do like it, but I'm not in the mood to be stressed out right now. I don't even know if I get stressed out during it. I just feel like constantly on edge. That's probably stress. That's probably being stressed out. And if you guys didn't notice, I don't like being stressed. Also, it's because I don't experience that feeling very frequently. So, it's like very hard for me to feel super anxious or stressed. It takes a lot for me to reach that point, and when I do reach that point, I feel super, super uncomfortable, and I hate it. Like I literally get like tingles, like this weird tingly feeling on like my arms and my spine, and it feels awful, and I hate it. Which is like the weirdest like way to like describe feeling like anxious. But the way I experience it, I think, is a little bit different from most other people. Plus, as I said, it takes a lot to get me to reach that point. Like, a story that I use to kind of emphasize like how hard it is for me to feel that way. Back in college, when I was still a university student, I have this really bad habit of not being able to feel stress. And while some people are like, oh, that's not like, or even now, I suppose, but like the reason why stress is good and why it's not always a terrible thing is that it like gives you a sort of like feeling of urgency. Like, oh, you have to get certain things done. Like some things need to be done on time. You need to get certain things like finished and over with, right? That's why like that sense of urgency and stress is somewhat important to have. And to, you know, to say the very least, especially for deadlines, it's very important. And I was so bad with deadlines all throughout school and like all throughout university. I got like kind of better with it, but became less of like oh, I should be doing it, and more just like, might as well, like what else am I going to be doing? So for the bigger deadlines, like the projects that they would tell you like, all right, you have to work on this project for like 3 or 4 months, like half a semester, and then you will like, you know, submit this project, and we'll be working on this throughout the entire semester or throughout the period of time that we're doing this. I'm like, okay, cool. And then like 3 days before it's supposed to be due, and I'm like, ah, frick, dude. I got nothing. So once there was a project. It was only like a month long, if I recall. It wasn't like a huge project, but it was like a project that you're supposed to have been working on. I forgot the exact details of it, but I remember I needed to use like very specific sources. So I would do my work not on my own personal laptop, but I would do it like in the library or on like the public computers, because they would have easy access to the online library and like resources and stuff, because like they would automatically connect and log into them rather than having to like find like a specific username or password to do it. I remember it was just easier for me at the time. So I remember I was working like late into the night. It was like 2 or 3 a.m. the night prior to when this thing is due. And it was like, oh yeah, like you just have to submit it during class or like submit it online like around an hour before class starts. And I was like, all right, like I'm almost done. Like I pulled like an all-nighter the night before. I was like super tired, but I was like almost done with it. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm almost done. Thank you. And as I was like on the finishing touches, I was like working on the last few paragraphs of this project. The power cut out. Very briefly. It was only I think I don't even think it was the power. I think it was the internet. I think the internet or like no, it was the power because if the internet cut out, it would have kept my saved progress. But the internet cut out like very briefly. It cut out for like I think it was like 5 to 10 minutes, and I was like, did I save? I'm not sure if I saved. And if I did save, I don't remember when I saved. Did I save recently? Did I save like an hour or two ago? When did I save? And so I was sitting there thinking, when did I last save? And then like the power comes back on. And so I turn the computer back on, log in, check my progress. Yeah, like I would say like the last like 3, 4, 5 hours of my work did not save. And I was like, well, I'm going to bed. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna send an email to my prof telling them, hey, I was finishing everything up, power went out, and I lost my progress just as I was about to finish. And so some of my progress has been left out. I'm gonna probably submit this like a day late. I'll probably have to like go to classes and then finish it up. But yeah, I cannot submit this on time because the power went out. And I was like, all right, well, time to go to bed. And I went to bed, fell asleep, woke up, went to class, and my prof was like, hey, I saw your email. Yeah, that's totally fine. Like I heard about the power outage, so it was fine. And I was like, cool. And then I just went on with my day. Like I just at the entire point, I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about it. Like this huge project that was like worth 20% of my grade or something. It was like a decent. It was like a okay, maybe not 20%. It was like probably like 10 to 15% of my grade. It was like a decent chunk, and I was like, yeah, I'm just not gonna think about it. I'm not gonna worry about it. Like, what it happened. I'm not gonna sit here and stress out about it and continue working on it and spend another all nighter. I'm gonna get my solid 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. Go to my morning classes. You know, not worry about a thing. Uh, and I remember when I was telling this story to some of my roommates, or sorry, floor mates. I told my roommate as well, but like some of my floor mates, they were just like, bro, if that happened to me, I would actually just die. If that happened to me, I would literally just die and crumple and just like cease to exist. And I was like, I mean, I don't know. There's nothing I could do about it. Like, I could sit there and try and like scramble to get all my work done, and it probably would have taken me like a little bit less time because, you know, I already had written everything up. I just had to remember what I did previously and just remember and put it back down onto the document. But it was like, nah, I'm just gonna go to bed. It's not worth it. I'll cry because this happens to me. Well, I couldn't. Yeah, it was. I had to use a Microsoft Word document. I forgot the reason why. I remember I like wanted to use Google Docs, but I like couldn't for some reason. I forgot why. I was using a Microsoft Word doc, so I had like a flash drive, and I was like, I just didn't save it, and I was like, you know what, it's fine. I'll leave it. It's not the worst thing in the world. Worse things have happened. Like, oh, okay. This is a super huge tangent, but I'll explain why my brain is going in this direction. So, the way this is how my brain is working right now. So I was thinking like stressed out telling this story, yeah, and then I see you say I would cry because this happened to me a few times. In my mind, I was about to say, you know, like it's been a really long time since I've cried, right? And then recently I had a conversation with a friend about them at their work dealing with some like crying children. I remember one of my responses to that was, yeah, like it really is incredible, and like it surprises me how like how long children can cry. Like, and not just like, just tearing up crying, but like legit bawling, screaming, crying for straight 20 minutes. And not like, feeling tired, or like maybe they do get exhausted and tired, but like they're still able to scream and cry for like 20 to 30 straight minutes. Um, and then that's where my mind went to. That was that was my mind, or that was my brain tract of like how that was going. And I was gonna go, oh yeah, like, it's what I was gonna say was immediately just going into, oh yeah, it always surprises me like how much kids can cry, because a couple of days ago at one of my, what was it, Wednesday morning shift, yeah, Wednesday morning, so 2 days ago, um if you don't know, I work at a swim school, uh as a swim instructor and as a lifeguard when necessary. And while I was lifeguarding, because we didn't have any, so they swapped me from instructing to lifeguarding for my Wednesday morning shift. I remember for one particular class period, so each class period is around 30 minutes, give or take. There's one particular class period where, like, every single kid, there's only like 4 kids because the mornings are really slow. Every single kid was crying. Every kid was bawling or crying, or like, something along those lines. And I remember I was sitting there watching them. I was like, dang, this is real impressive. Like, it started off like with these two kids crying, and then like the instructors like trying to get them to like kick their feet and do all that kind of stuff. And it just kept going for 20, like 25, 30 straight minutes. These kids were like screaming, crying, and I was like, how can you do that? Genuinely, how can you scream and cry for that long, dude? The last time I cried, like, and I didn't even like scream or anything. The last time I cried was like legit like 5, 6, 7 years ago. I cried for like 2 minutes and I was exhausted after. I was like, dude, I need a nap. How do kids have that much energy? I don't understand. It's so funny to me that kids can do that they can sit there and scream and cry and yell, and then at the end of it, like, they're just like fine for the most part. Like, they're still crying and stuff, but for the most part they're fine. And in my mind, it's like, what the fudge? Like, if I were to do that, like, I would probably get exhausted within like 30 seconds if I were to try and scream cry like that. Like, actually ridiculous. Children are so, like, they have too much energy. They have way too much energy. Like, honestly, it's actually really fun working at the swim school that I've been working at. I've been getting a lot of these like funny little moments that I'm like, I could probably tell these stories on stream as like small mini stream stories. And because I don't talk about it frequently, I can't tell which stories I have told on stream and which stories I haven't. Oh, actually, here's one that I know for a fact that I haven't told. So when you're a lifeguard, right, there's things that you learn, and that like, or there's things that you have to do purely for like safety's sake, right? Obviously, like, even if it's mostly preventative. And like, one of the main things that you have to learn is that, like, when it comes to like body fluids, like blood, vomit, saliva, that kind of stuff, you don't want to touch it, right? You always want to make sure that you're handling it with gloves on, so you don't like accidentally contract like an illness or a disease or something like that can be contracted through body fluids, right? So if anything like major happens, like say a kid scrapes them, like, say, okay, maybe not even a scrape because there isn't like a ton of blood that comes, but like say a kid gets a really bad bloody nose, right? And you don't catch it in time, and like you can see the blood like in the pool, you should probably evacuate the pool. If it's like a small amount, it's not a huge deal because chlorine and all that. But if it's a decent amount and you could literally see it in the water, you should evacuate the pool. If a kid vomits or throws up, you need to evacuate the pool and you need to like start cleaning everything up and stuff, right? Um, Supposedly this doesn't happen super frequently, but thus far, this has happened to me 3 times. And I've only worked there for what, like 3 months now. So like once a month, a kid has vomited and we've had to clean up the pool. And let me say, I'm not there for every single shift. I try and pick up extra shifts here and there, but I've experienced this 3 times. And 2 of those 3 times were not my regular shifts. So I have my regular shifts of, I think I do about 5 shifts a week, but I always try and do like 6 or 7, because I'm trying to make money and stuff. Um, but I have like 5 shifts a week. Or I have 5 regular shifts, and then I pick up 1 or 2 extra every week to like kind of make up for the fact that I'm working part time as a fully grown adult. Um, so I'm kind of borderlining between part time and full time in a weird way. And for both shifts that I was supposed to stay extra, a kid vomited, and I was like, okay, gosh dang it. So one time it was because someone couldn't make it to like the ladder bit of their shift, and so they're like, "Hey, Sai, could you stay after when your shift is over, and stay the extra hour to help out because one of our instructors can't stay for the last hour." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." And then like within like the last 30 minutes, a kid vomited in the pool. And essentially what happened, the managers were like, all right, everybody whose shift ends like now, you guys can leave. Everybody else stays and cleans. And I was like, you're kidding me. You're actually kidding me. I actually had to stay because like I picked up that shift and I had to stay and clean, which is like, it was such a pain, dude. Like, it was just getting buckets of like bleach and water and like cleaning up all the equipment that was like near the splash zone. And then like trying to clean up everything and make sure that I don't accidentally touch the pool or anything, because there were some chunks. Oh, sorry. This is probably like kind of like I shouldn't be too descriptive of it. Was it just you? No, it was me and it was like 3 other people. So it's not just me, obviously. There were like 3 other people that had to do it, but there was only 4 of us. And like during the main shift, there were like maybe around 7. So like total like around 10 or 11 people. And they basically told them, hey, all of you guys, like it's not your paid shift. So you guys can just go home, but everybody else, like you have to stick around and like clean up the pool and clean out like all the kickboards and the equipment that were in the splash zone, along with everything that was in the pool when that happened. And I was like, gosh, freaking dang it. All right, fine. And so because I said like 30 minutes prior, I was like, you know what? Yeah, sure. I'll stay the extra hour. I'll get my little extra like few dollars in. Well, that's not few, but like I'll get my like extra few dollars in. And because of that, I had to stay, and I spent the hour just cleaning up vomit. I was like, cool. And then the second time it happened was because during my regular shifts, one of my coworkers told me, "Hey, Sai, I have a shift tomorrow evening." I think it was, no. It was 2 days. So it's like 2 days from now that I can't make because I have like a dentist appointment. I forgot the reasoning, so I'm just saying dentist appointment. I have a dentist appointment. So, Sai, could you pick that shift up for me? And I was like, like that's my Thursday. That's Thursday evening. I usually stream on but like I need to make the extra money. You know what? Fine. I'll take extra shift. Let me double check my schedule, but I think I can pick it up for you. They're like, yeah, okay, thanks. So during that shift, about like it was going fine. It was just like a normal shift. The last hour, a kid vomited in the pool, and because I was lifeguarding, guess who had to clean it? We had to evacuate the pool. Like obviously, like everybody that had that shift had to help clean it. But like as the lifeguard, like I was the one that had to like handle a lot of like the other stuff, and it was like, ugh. So both times was because, or for 2 of the 3 times, it was because someone asked me to take their shift, and it wasn't me willingly going like, you know what? There's an open shift this day, I'll take it, right? It was like last minute, like, you know what, sure, I'll take it. And then this just happens to happen, and then I usually was the end of that to clean it. The third time that happened, it did happen on my regular shift. Although this was like a very small thing. Like the kid threw up, but it was mostly like water. Like there's no chunks or anything, and I couldn't even tell that they threw up initially. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I remember when I saw it, I was like, did they throw up? Did they? I wasn't sure. But in the end, like we didn't clear the entire pool because like there aren't like, it wasn't a huge deal, or at least that one wasn't. But I still had to like get the bleach bucket, because I was very I was intimately familiar with that bleach bucket at this point. And I had to fill the bucket and like kind of splash it around that area and then cleaning it up with like regular chlorinated water. Um, so that time wasn't as bad because it took me like maybe 30 minutes to clean up. But the other two times it was like an hour long thing. We had to like keep the pool closed like afterwards. So we had to like cancel a bunch of stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm so sad thinking about it. uh does it happen frequently to your coworkers, or are you just that unlucky? I was just unlucky. This has not happened very frequently. As far as I know, like I know people who work there for longer than I have, and they're like, yeah, it happens like every once in a while, but not as frequently like as it has been happening. And like I was like, gosh freaking dang it, dude. You're kidding me. By the way, this all happened. All three times happened in like the first month and a half of me working. So the past month and a half of me working there, nothing has happened, right? Nothing has happened of the sort. This all happened in the first month and a half. And thus far, throughout all the shifts I've been picking up in my regular shifts, like nothing like this has happened yet. The only thing similar that has happened is while I was teaching a kid, they got a nosebleed. But essentially what happened was they were like swimming, and then they rolled onto their back to get a breath. And when they rolled onto their back, I was like holding them by their arms, like squishing their head, but like their arms were above their head in streamline. And I was like holding their arms to their head to make sure that their arms were straight. And as I was like holding them up like on the surface of the water, I noticed that they started having a nosebleed. And I was like, okay, let's stay like this. Just stay like that. Yep. Just I'm gonna take you all the way to the other side. And then I was like waving over at the lifeguards. I was like, hey, this kid has a bloody nose. Can I get a tissue? Because I thought it was like a small thing, and so I got them out of the water, and then only to realize that this thing is pretty freaking bad. It would not stop. The bloody nose would not stop. And the kid was super calm about it. She was like, yeah, no, this happens every once in a while. Like, I had a bloody nose this morning, and I was like, gosh, yeah, it's pretty humid, to be fair, around the pool area. Although for me, I get bloody noses when it's dry, not when it's humid. But like for them, it was like, yeah. She was like, no, yeah. Like I had a bloody nose earlier this morning too. It just would not stop. Thankfully, I think I made sure that so that none of the blood got into the pool, and if it did, like it wasn't noticeable at all. So the chlorine probably like cleaned out like the worst of that bit. But it just would not stop, and eventually we had to send her home and make sure that she got like a makeup scheduled for later on, because obviously because she couldn't swim, we had to make sure that she can get that back. But that's enough of like, you know, the gross icky stuff. I should probably talk about like awesome moments. Moments when, you know, kids being kids, because like obviously there's like two camps, especially in the current like generation, like my age-ish, like Zoomer, or kind of technically a Zoomer. I'm kind of a millennial. I'm in the weird middle ground, because I think when people think of Zoomers, it's like Zoomers are the generation that grew up with technology, right? Like they're the iPad kids. They're the ones that like grew up with like all of like the whole internet at their fingertips. Or like that's kind of the generation, because I was born in 2000, and I grew up with stuff, sure, like I had a Game Boy growing up, I had like a Nintendo DS, I played League of Legends in middle school, high school, but like I personally never had like social media and stuff, and I was never super interested in that kind of stuff. And so like 2000 is like that weird cutoff period. So there's like a lot of stuff that I missed out on. But like why the fudge am I talking about this? Where did this come from? Oh yeah, no. So like some of the kids, like some people just don't like kids, right? Uh like my generation, like you have the very easy camps of people who really don't like kids and people who really like them. Obviously, you have people who are indifferent towards them, but I feel like a lot of people that I personally know are either, yeah, kids are great, or freaking screw kids, they suck. They're icky and disgusting and gross and ew, right? Uh, that's like generally how I feel people see kids. And then there are like the few people that are like in the middle. Like I obviously like kids. I think kids are awesome. They have their like these moments, and obviously they have those also the other spectrum of moments. Like yeah, they can be really annoying and bratty and like whiny and all that kind of stuff. But like kids are still great. They have their awesome moments. Um, I think I've told this story on stream before. I don't remember because I've told this story to a lot of people. But there was I think this is when I was still training. So this is like my first month working at this location. And I remember I was shadowing a teacher, and I was like half teaching, like half watching them teach. And sometimes when some teachers don't have classes, like their kids don't show up, or like a kid calls in sick and they don't have classes, they start picking out kids to teach separately. So they went up to the lane that I was shadowing this teacher, and they were like, "Hey, can we grab this kid real quick, move them over one lane, and then like have a private lesson?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." So we were looking at the kid, and we're like, "Hey, could you go with this teacher and move over to the next lane?" And the kid was like, "I don't wanna. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it." And we're like, "Wait, why? Like, what's wrong?" Like we're like they're just like, I don't want to move. I want to be in this lane. I don't want to be in that lane." And we're like, "Well, you're just moving one lane over, right? You're still gonna see the instructor. You're still gonna see the other students, like the kids that you were working with and playing with earlier. Like they're right there. Like you're just moving one lane over." They're like, "I don't want to move. I don't want to move." And then we were like, "All right, can you tell us why you don't want to move? Like, why don't you want to move?" And ladies and gentlemen in the chat room, do you guys want to guess what this kid said? Do you want to guess what this kid's response is as to the reasoning as to why they did not want to move from the lane, or their current lane, to the lane next over? Um Cause yeah, so we were thinking like, oh, maybe they don't like the teacher, right? Like maybe they want to stay with the other students, like with the other kids in this lane. Uh like but no. That's not what this kid said. This kid looked up at me and the other instructor, and they were just like, "I'm too powerful for that lane. That lane can't contain my strength." I was like, "Okay, Saitama." like what? We're just like, "Wait, did you say you're too strong? Like too strong?" They're like, "Yeah, I'm too strong. That lane can't contain." We're like, "Well, what about this lane? Why are you okay with this lane? Why can't you be in this lane, not that lane?" They're just like, I'm too strong. I can't go to that lane because I'm too strong. I have to stay in this lane. I'm too strong." We're like, dude, me, the instructor that I was shadowing, the other instructor, all three of us were looking at each other, and we just started laughing. It was so funny, bro. This kid was just like looking at us the most serious way I've seen someone say this. They were just like, "I'm too strong." And in my mind, I was like, "Is this guy like an anime protagonist? What's going on here?" Like, this kid's too strong, I guess. Like, and at the end, like, the kid refused to move, and they were like, "All right, sorry," like, but this kid like just refused to move, and we can't force them. For some things we can force, but for something like this, like we won't force the kids to do. So they ended up just staying in the lane. But like, oh my goodness, it was awesome. It was so funny. All three of us were like dying laughing when we heard this. We're like, "Oh my goodness, this kid's just too strong. We can't hold them back. We can't stop them." Then I get like the duality of children. Like I get criers. There are like baby classes for kids that are like really really young, but usually they work with their parents. And then when sometimes they have these classes, which are the transition period of baby classes to the normal classes, where they start learning how to kick their feet, like float on their back on their own, that kind of stuff. I consider these classes as, if you have one of these classes and you have more than one kid, expect a crier. You will always have a kid crying because they're used to swimming with their parents, or they like being with their parents, or they are always crying. Uh, and so imagine my shock when day one I get my own, like I finally finish training. I get my own classes, right? I'm like, all right, like I'm excited. Like I get my own classes, get my own kids, that kind of stuff. I show up to one of my classes. I'm like, okay, I have a transition class. Let's see how this goes. I get 3 kids. All of them were crying the entire time. All 3 kids were crying. You know the best part about that particular class? I still have these kids, by the way. Like 2-3 months later, I still have this class with the same kids, or most of the same kids. But the best part of that class with those 3 crying kids is that they don't fight me. They don't, like, when I try and, like, you know, hold them and help them do like backflips and stuff, they're not like struggling, or like they're not fighting me or splashing the water or like trying to get out of the pool. They just cry. They visibly cry. They're loudly crying, but they just let me like handle them. Like I'll just be like, all right, we're gonna like push off the wall and glide as far as we can, and they're crying, and then I grab I like, you know, gently take their hands and I like pull them towards the other side, and they're just crying, but they don't fight me. They glide. They're just like doing everything that I want them to do, but they're just crying the entire time. Which I guess to some people is like, dang, that seems really annoying. But to me, I find it really funny. It's really amusing to me that these kids are like constantly crying. They're like loudly like crying, and like you can see snot like coming down their nose. I have to grab like tissue paper, or I have to ask for tissue papers to like wipe their nose clean. But they're like fine with me like taking them, or like putting them on their back or their front, or dipping them in the water, like putting their face in the water. They're still crying, don't get me wrong. They're crying when they go in, and they're crying when they come out. But like they're not complaining, and they're not choking or anything. Like they're properly closing their mouth, or like not swallowing any water when they're going under. So it's like, I guess it's fine. Now they're not crying as much. Sometimes they come in and they're just not in a good mood. But the fact that they just like sit there, like, because I have kids that are criers and fighters. Like they will physically fight me tooth and nail to not get in the water, to stay out of the pool, to not move their arms or kick their feet or anything. And I'm like, bruh. Like, and I'm like I'm trying to like talk to them. I'm like, what are you scared of? Are you scared of the water? Are you scared of me? Like, what are you scared of? Like, is it because I'm a guy? Because sometimes some kids really don't like guy instructors. They don't like dudes. They much prefer like female instructors, which I guess is kind of fair. It hurts in my heart a little bit, you know, because I'm very sensitive. But no, I'm kidding. I don't mind it too much. Because I'm like, you know, it's fair. Like if they grew up where in a household where their dad's away all the time and their mom is like the motherly, like nurturing parent figure, and they connect that to like women, or like to like being more feminine, then like that makes sense. But like it was just funny to me that 3 kids that are crying, and like none of them ever fought me. And then like from then I've had multiple criers that would fight me tooth and I've had a kid kick me in the balls. Actually, now that I think about it, I get kicked in the balls very frequently at this job. If you hold a kid wrong while they're trying to kick or push, they will push off you. They will use your body to push and like go as far as they can if you hold them wrong. And I have definitely taken quite a few kick into my nether regions, more often than I would like to care to admit. And for some of the smaller kids, it doesn't hurt as much. But like but when I say smaller, I'm talking like 1 or 2 year olds. if we're talking like even like 3, 4, 5 year olds, that crap hurts. That crap really, really hurts. And like if it just happens one time, like I try and tough it out. I'm like I like laugh a little bit. I'm like, try not to push off me like that. Like you shouldn't do that. Like that's cheating. Just let me push you or something like that. I once had a kid that I swear had a vendetta against my nether regions. They always were constantly kicking and pushing against my lower body, even when I try to like straighten out their body on the surface of the water. So if they were to push on or kick me, they would kick my chest or shoulders. They would find a way. I don't know how they would keep doing it. I would keep telling them, hey, like you're hurting me, like stop kicking me, stop pushing off of me. And they're just like, they just would not care. They would just keep kicking me. I'm like, oh my gosh, this freaking hurts. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm impotent, dude. Or impotent, sorry, not impotent. That sounds weird. Like seriously, like oh my goodness, was it something else to have this constantly happen? I need a waterproof cup to protect you. Honestly, maybe it would also look really strange though, because I'm constantly coming in and out of the water, so if people notice that I just have like this cup like bulge down there, that would be real strange. But yeah, no, kids are they do get really like feisty and stuff, but hey, I still really enjoy it when you get like kids that are like active and they'll talk to you and they'll make jokes and they'll laugh and like have fun with you. Those are like the best kind of lessons. Like here's the thing, right? Contrary to pop, so first and foremost I should say, you know how when you talk to teachers or when you talk to parents and you go like even as a kid you're like, who do you like, who's your favorite like son, or who's your favorite child, or like who's your favorite student or kid, and they always go like, oh, I love all my kids equally, I love all my students equally, like they're all so great, I can't pick one. They're all liars, every single one of them. They're all liars. We all have favorites, okay? Yes, I pulled my microphone closer for emphasis. We all have favorites, okay? I have my least favorites and I have my and I have my favorites, okay? All of the adults throughout your entire life have been lying to you, okay? Maybe not all of them, but like I would say teachers in particular and instructors, we all have our favorite kids and we have our least favorite kids. And for the most part, it's not the obedient kids that are our favorites. Like it's not the ones that do everything you tell them to do without complaining. Like those aren't necessarily the ones that are our favorites. Like for me personally, the ones that are my personal favorites are the ones that like talk, and even the ones that like act out, because they're a lot more fun to teach than the ones that are wiggly and squirming and like, yeah, they'll like listen to you and pay attention to you, but at the same time like they'll like jump at you or like do things that you're like telling them not to do. Those are the ones that are more fun to teach, and those are my favorite kids. They're the cuter kids. They're the kids that are way more interesting, or not more interesting, but like more fun to teach. And those are my favorite ones. Don't tell my kids I said this. don't tell them I said this, but I do have favorites. And like the ones that are like really silent, they don't talk much, they do everything you tell them to do. It's like, yeah, it makes your job easier. Like, yeah, you get through everything a lot easy, like a lot quicker. But like at the same time, it makes things like kind of dull, right? Because like you try and make things fun, like you try and make jokes and stuff, and you try to like get the kids to laugh. They're just not really responding, or at most they just like give you a nod or a small smile. And even though like, you know, every small bit like means a lot to me, like if I can get a quiet kid to laugh or smile, that means a lot to me, because it means I'm doing my job decently well. But if a kid's not really actively responding to you, like you're asking them questions, you're trying to get them to say things or do things, and like they do everything but they don't say much, it's not like as fun, right? Compared to the kids that are more rowdy, the kids that fight you but like not overly so. Like I have a kid that is constantly jumping on me. Like the entire time I'm trying to like tell them to do things. They're jumping on me, they're clinging on to me, and like they're like making like these like small quips that are like cute and like really annoying but funny, right? Like they would like grab onto me. I'm like, "Are you a koala bear? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you grabbing onto me?" And they're just like, "No, I'm a cat. Meow." And I'm like, "What the fudge?" I'm a cat now, and they just start clinging on to me. I'm like, I don't think cats really cling on like this. She's like, no, you're a tree, and I'm a cat. I'm like, are you a squirrel then? Like, what's going on here? uh, you can tell like from me talking about it. I think that like these kind of covers these like moments are a lot more like entertaining and fun for me to me than like the kids that sit there and listen and like quietly like silently do everything you tell them to do. Like, I have a kid. She is really good swimmer. She's awesome. Like everything I tell her to do, she does perfectly. And when she's not doing it perfectly, I tell her how to fix it and she immediately fixes it. Like it's insane how good of a swimmer she is. But she doesn't talk much. I can't she doesn't smile like at all. I can't tell if she's laughing at any of the like of the things that I'm trying to do to get my kids to laugh, right? She doesn't I can't tell if she's having fun or if she's just like taking everything in stride and just trying to like I'm sure like some instructors would be like, that's my favorite kid right there. They do everything I tell them to do. Like they respond very easily like to everything. Like when I explain something, they just get it immediately. Like, yeah, I get it. But like at the same time, like I much prefer if the kids are engaging with me rather than just listening, you know? I think that's the best way to put it. I like kids that engage with me, that talk with me, and like, you know, answer my questions and are like pushing back sometimes rather than the kids that just listen. Yeah. Not to say that like, you know, like obvious there's like a tier list in my mind. There's a tier list of like kids of like from of likability, right? To like at the top you got those kids that engage with you. They're kind of bratty, but like in a endearing way, which I think some people would get and some others wouldn't. And then it kind of goes downwards. Like, yeah, you have the kids that never listen to you. Uh, there are like bratty kids that are just annoying. Like that does exist as well. There's like bratty, endearing, bratty, annoying, and like depending on like how they are, they like shift up and down in the tier list. But I think the kids that okay, I probably shouldn't say this. I'm gonna say the kids that annoy me the most. I probably shouldn't say this. I will say though, at the very least, I will say, I just wish that kids don't whine as much. It's the whininess that's the most annoying, unfortunately. It helps them really, 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 really patient, so I don't get upset very easily. But at the same time, like, I can tell kids are smart, and at some point, I do notice when kids try to walk over me, like they're just like, oh, this guy will just let me do whatever the heck I want. I'm just gonna jump and do whatever the heck. Like I can kind of tell, and at the same time, it's like, all right, at what point do I start shouting, or at what point do I like maybe not shouting or like yelling, but at what point do I have to like put my foot down? You know? Dude, like when I'm trying to sit here and think about like specifics, I can't think of any specific stories. I should write this down, honestly. There aren't a lot of like very specific stories from like the swim school that I can think of, but like I swear there are a lot of moments that like actually just make me start laughing. But I can't think of any off the top of my head. Honestly, I just think I'm weirdly unlucky when it comes to like stuff. Actually, now that I think about it, I feel like I'm weirdly unlucky with most of my jobs. Now that I think about it, like I mentioned earlier, how I've experienced multiple like throw up incidents at my current swim school. So before this job, I worked at a preschool. I've talked about that in the past. I worked at a preschool. Literally day one, working at that preschool, and a kid pooped, like just in their pants, in the middle of the room for no reason. And I was like, cool, awesome. Guess I have to clean that. They actually didn't have me clean it because it was my first day. They were just like, all right, like, you don't have to worry about it. I'll clean it up. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But like, I was like, okay, cool. First day, someone pooped, awesome. And the teacher was like, yeah, this like never happens. I don't know why they're doing it today. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. That's how it is. 2 hours later, same kid poops again. And at this point, like, I'm pretty sure the kid was doing it on purpose and they didn't think it was a bad thing. They just thought it was funny. And I was like, okay, cool. They pooped again. What a first day, right? Day one and this happens, and apparently like it literally never happened for the rest of the school year, but just that one, just the kid just wanted to do it just for fun. And I was like, all right. And remember, I didn't start day one, right? I started like a couple of months into the school year, so these kids have been in the class for like a few months by then, and they just decided to do it while I showed up. And like I was like, all right, sure. When during my first lifeguard, so my first job was as a high schooler, was as a lifeguard. And while they were teaching us like the general things for lifeguarding, like, you know, how to do saves, like how to like do your EAP, emergency action plan, like a bunch of other stuff. I remember my coach, my swim instructor, or my swim instructor, my lifeguard instructor, essentially told us that, hey, like, we're gonna teach you a lot of things, but depending on how things go, you may or may not ever need to utilize this knowledge. And he was like, I know a guy who has lifeguarded for like a decade and has only experienced like one time where they actually needed to save somebody, and it wasn't like a drowning or anything. It was just like, or it wasn't like a major drowning or anything. So like this does not happen very often. And I was like, I guess that makes sense. And especially like where I was working, because I was as a lifeguard, I was lifeguarding at a beach, and I was lifeguarding at a like a proper like pool. But the hours that I was putting in at that pool was usually when the swim team was practicing, or when they were doing like swim lessons. So the chance of me actually needing to do something were really, really slim. Because what are the chances that kids who swim in a swim team are gonna like start drowning? And what are the chances that like a kid taking a lesson is gonna drown and their swim instructor isn't doing anything about that, right? And at the lake, it wasn't like a huge deal either, because like people don't usually drown on at the beach very frequently. Usually if you have problems at the beach, it's like health related stuff, not like drowning related stuff. So I was like, I'm probably okay. During the around a year and a half that I was lifeguarding, I experienced two incidents where someone needed assistance in the water. The first one was a seizure. I had someone start seizing in the water. And it was at the lake. It was at the lake shore that I was working at. And suffice to say, everything was like, it wasn't a huge deal, because it was like a kid that was seizing, but their parents were with them and they had experience with it. So as the lifeguard, all I had to do was just like make sure that nothing bad happened. Just that like usually when someone is seizing, all you need to do is to make sure that their head is safe and that there's nothing in their vicinity that they can like knock into and like hurt themselves, right? So if someone's seizing the water, all you do is hold their head, make sure that their head isn't like doesn't go under the water, and you essentially just let them seize until they stop, right? So that's what happened. Nothing major happened from it, but I did have to like write up a report of what happened, and you know, in case something like a call happens later on. And the second time that this happened, it was a kid that was drowning, because we were hosting a pool party or something for summer camp, I think it was, at the pool that I was working at. It was not at the lake shore, it was at the pool. And I remember our lane lines were broken, so we did not have a lane line to cut off where the deep end started. So, and So like we were like, all right, so kids just like be careful, don't walk too far into the deep end if you don't have like a bracelet. And like if you don't know, we or a lot of facilities do this where you test kids to see if they can swim into the deep end, and if they can, you give them a little bracelet. And if a kid has a bracelet, then they're allowed to swim in the deep end, right? Simple as that. So I was the one that was facilitating the swim tests. So all that kid has to do is swim one lane back and forth. Like as long as they can swim all the way across, like they'll get a bracelet. And I was the one that was putting the bracelet on, like making sure that the kids like were okay. And it was not any of these kids that had the issue. Rather, one of the kids that was in the pool already accidentally stepped into the deep end because we didn't have a lane line separating it. They accidentally stepped in the deep end and they started drowning. So I basically had to whistle, jump in the water, grab them, make sure that they were okay. The kid was just like apologizing the entire time. They were just like they weren't even like in shock or anything or like panicking. They were like, "I'm sorry, I that was a dumb thing to do. I'm really really sorry." And I'm like, "Hey, you're fine. You're fine. Like nothing awful happened. It's fine." But yeah, I experienced it twice in a year and a half, and I felt like that was kind of unlucky. I'm trying to think. I don't know any of my other jobs. Are there anything that? Oh yeah, no, I forgot about this. I worked as a adult one-on-one tutor for English as a second language. It was for adults that would come to the U.S. for work or business reasons, and they essentially would need help with English. And so what we would do is we would make lessons to teach these people, these adults, a business related like English stuff. Like for example, what was one thing that we did? Crap. I remember the very specific presentation slides that we made for something, but I forgot what it was. But regardless, this is like the job. We're essentially just like making lessons and then teaching adults like business related English, right? And so the unlucky bit, so the unlucky bit that happens here is that so it was me and two others. We basically spent like a month getting paid for this, by the way. We spent a month working together to create lesson plans to teach these adults like very specific things. And then when it was time, like they were like, all right, like we're calling in for like the people that you have to teach. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. Like good luck everyone, because these are like one-on-ones. Like good luck. Like let's hopefully like everything works out well. Like and we're gonna share information afterwards. Yeah, the person I was supposed to tutor canceled. They canceled their appointment, and not just like their single appointment, but every succeeding appointment, because I don't remember the reason. They just like essentially they couldn't like come to the lesson. I was the only one. The other two got their lessons and they were fine. And so I was talking with like my boss about this, and they were just like, yeah, unfortunately, like we don't have anybody else for you to teach. Like that was it. It was just that guy. And he like essentially just canceled. So you don't have anyone to teach. And I was like, okay, so what do I do? Like this was supposed to be a summer job for me. Like this is my summer job. So I have like a month and a half left, a period where I was expecting to work and get paid. So I was like, what am I supposed to do now? And they're just like, we'll have to get back to you on this. And I was like, is that it? Like, is my job over? Like, cause I can't find anyone for like the summer. So what they ended up doing was they still paid me, and they gave me work to do, but essentially what they did was, they just had me make lesson plans essentially for the rest of the summer. I essentially just sat there, making lesson plans and then sharing them with the other two, and then they would like we would talk about the lesson plans like we would make, and then they would like go and teach their students while I would continue to make more lesson plans. But like, yeah, I completely forgot about this. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been because this was like like a summer job that like one of my professors recommended me because they needed somebody to like take over this job, and I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And it was like really low key, and it was a way for me to make money, I guess. I completely forgot about that. Wow. Well, there you go. If you couldn't tell, a lot of my jobs seem to go in one of two directions or both at the same time, which is in water stuff or teaching stuff. I have a weird bad luck with jobs. What about outside of jobs though? I don't know. I'm clumsy. I can be really airheaded and clumsy at times. So I guess it depends if you would count that as bad luck, because there are some weird, nasty moments that I've had. Like, so, for example, I'm usually, so, yeah, so one of the big comparison points between me and my brother is that I like to take care of my things very, very well, right? Like, when I get, like, for example, I had a flip phone, right? I had a flip phone during the majority of my life. Like even now during the majority of my life, like when I had a phone, I had a flip phone, not a smartphone. Even in high school, when pretty much everyone I knew and close friends of mine had smartphones and stuff, I still had a flip phone. And I didn't mind it too much. In my mind, it was like, why would I need a smartphone? Like I had a Kindle, which I would use to like read books and stuff. Like I had a family laptop that I could use to like watch YouTube videos and stuff. Like I didn't feel the need to get a smartphone, right? And because I was like really good at taking care of my stuff, I've had that same flip phone, no issues whatsoever, for like 5-6 years. I've had that thing for a really long time. I took really good care of it. There were some like cracks in it from like overuse and like of me dropping it like once or twice. But like I take care of my stuff very, very well. And usually if I take care of my stuff, like I can keep using the same like personal belongings for years and years and years, like way long, like shoes, for example. I wear out shoes very slowly. I can wear shoes for like 2-3 years before I need to get a new pair of shoes. Like of regular use, by the way. Not like, oh, like these are like my rainy shoes and these are like my casual. Like, no. I have like 1 or 2 pairs of shoes that I use for every occasion, and I wear those out like over the course of 2 to 3 years. Like I'm very good at taking care of my belongings. The reason I'm mentioning my flip phone though is because my leading up to my senior year of high school, I remember just randomly I washed my phone. I kept my phone in my jean pockets as I put my clothes in the laundry, and bye bye went my flip phone. uh Again, I'm not sure if this counts as like unlucky or anything. But like it was just a random day. Like I've taken care of this thing. Like I've been super careful not to do this exact thing that I did. Like I spent all this time trying to make sure that my flip phone is fine, and then just one random day, I grab my laundry. I notice as I pick up, like start moving my clothes into the dryer, that I heard like a thunk, like a something solid hitting the back of the dryer, and I was like, what the heck was that? And then I like pulled out my jeans, I checked the pockets, it was my flip phone, and I was like, no, my flip phone. Tangent, by the way, you know how sometimes people have really useless skills, like things that they're really good at, but like will amount to absolutely nothing? My useless skill is being able to type really, really fast on a numpad. Like, you know, like when you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numpad, and then you have like letters lining up to the numbers. So like, you know, you have ABC for 2, like all that kind of stuff. Hi, Strong Boy. I don't think I've ever been called Strong Boy like that before. Hello, Sikutaz. I don't know if I've ever been called Strong Boy. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. But yeah, I was really good at typing on a numpad. I was really good and really fast about that. How about tall, cute boy? I'm 5'6". I'm not tall. I'll take cute, sure. I've reached the point in my life where I think I'm more cute than handsome, so I'll take it. But soon 6'6" on your money once you get rich. Where is this coming from? What are you doing here? I don't know what you're trying to do here. But unfortunately, I don't gain a foot just because I'm standing on bills. I'm just. Do I gain a foot just because I'm standing on like a foot-long stool? My bad. I'm just chilling. Hey, Alright. I gain a foot because, yes, I do gain a foot of height because I'm standing on a stool. Alright, sure. Agree to disagree. I don't know if I agree with that standpoint. I call it cheating, personally. Oh, I'm trying to think. What other, like, weird, unlucky moments? Oh, yeah! Okay, let me talk to you about, like, okay, so... so, gacha games, right? I'm not really huge on gacha games overall, but I have tried a ton of gacha games throughout my entire life, right? So one of my friends introduced me to Brave Frontier, like one of like the OG gacha games. And it was my first ever like playing a mobile game that was gacha. Like I've played mobile games as a kid. Like I especially love Cut the Rope and Tiny Wings. Like Where's the Water? Like those, I love the puzzle mobile games. Those games are awesome. I loved playing those games. But Brave Frontier was the first time I played a proper gacha game, right? And the way Brave Frontier did their polls, I don't remember their percentages. I don't think you really need to worry about the percentages with what I'm about to tell you, with like the chances of hitting certain things. But essentially, they, around the time that I started playing, actually, I can actually probably pinpoint when I started playing Brave Frontier, because I could look up the banner. When did this character release? This is back in like 2015. This is back in 2015 when this character released, okay? So there's this banner. It was like a fire character banner. There are 3 characters on this banner, right? And generally the consensus of those 3 characters, one of the characters was not good. Like this character was really bad. The other 2 were good. One of them was better than the other, but the other 2 were good characters that you could use like for your teams, right? This is my first time playing. I've saved up gems for this specific banner, and I was like, okay, let me pull on this banner. Like, there are 2 good characters. Surely, if I pull on this banner with how much I've saved, I will be able to hit one of the 2 good characters. So I do like 20 pulls, like 20, 30 pulls. And by the way, this doesn't sound like a lot if you look at Genshin, but for Brave Frontier, there's only single pulls. There's no such thing as 10 pulls. There's only single pulls. So you can only do 1 pull at a time. So this is a lot of freaking pulls, like at least 10, 15 pulls that I'm doing. The character that I'm talking about, the bad character, and this character haunts me to this day. You can tell because I still remember this character's name. They're called Homusubi. They are a like horse, like armored like centaur, like fire centaur or something. You deserve more followers. Debatable, but I appreciate it. Freaking Homusubi. I still remember this freaking piece of crap horse, dude. I pulled like 15 times and I got like 4 to 5 copies of Homusubi, not a single copy of any of the other two characters, dude. I did not get any of the other two characters. I got like 4 to 5 Homusubis, and I dropped the game as soon as that happened. I was like so tilted. I was like staring at my phone screen. I was like, what the fudge is this? I actually got like 4 to 5 of the bad character. There are 3 characters on this banner. 2 good ones, and I got the bad one like 4 to 5 times. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not playing this character. If you don't reach 1,000 followers, Twitch is rigged 100%. Twitch is rigged though. Twitch is just straight up rigged. Like, I've calmed, and I've realized at this point in my life with streaming that I'm okay with getting 4 to 5 viewers. 200 followers is a lot of people, Seku. If you don't mind me shortening your name. But I am happy with my current standing. Although I do appreciate that you think that I am somewhat entertaining. I appreciate it. By the way, this is not the end of it. My gacha look is awful. So there is a fairly well-known gacha game that came out. I don't think it's very popular nowadays, but back when it came out, it was really huge. It was Love Live. It was the, what is that? Love Live mobile. What was it called? School Idol Festival. That's what it's called. I liked Love Live, the anime. It's a guilty pleasure, I'm not gonna lie. I watched Love Live, and all my friends were like, it's so stupid. And I was just like, I kind of liked it. It was kind of cute. Like, it was obviously not my favorite or anything, but I enjoyed watching the show. And I really like rhythm games. Like, I really enjoyed playing rhythm games. So when Love Live School Idol Festival came out as a gacha game, I was like, you know what? I'll play the game. Even if I don't get good polls and stuff, right? Even if they don't get good polls, I can just play the game like as a rhythm game, right? I'll have a good time playing the game as a rhythm game. So I started playing the game, and I was like, this is kind of fun. Like, I like playing my rhythm games. Like, I played OS, quite a bit of OS. I loved playing DDR as a kid. So playing this was really fun to me. Like, I had a mobile game that I could play on my phone, featuring a game anime that I actually kind of liked, and with characters that I recognized, and the gameplay was pretty fun. I enjoyed playing the game. So they released the banner. You can tell where I'm going with the story. They released the banner. And the banner was like, I don't remember the exactly how the Love Live like rarities worked. I think it worked off of stars. I'm not sure, but let's just say that the highest was, I think the way Love Live worked, it was 5 stars, and then you had to level your characters to 6 stars. So the game was like, hey, you pull a 10 pull on this banner, guaranteed 5-star. Okay, we'll give you a 5-star from this banner. I was like, sick, awesome. I only have 3-4 stars because I haven't been getting super lucky, but I didn't mind because like I just want to play the game for the game itself. I was like, sick, I'll take a 5-star, hell yeah. And like, by the way, so the way rhythm games like Love Live work, or the way that Love Live worked as a gacha game, was that your characters, depending on how high of a rarity and how high leveled your characters were, you would get a better score. Like, you would just get more score on your maps and like scores and stuff that you would do in the game, right? So I would like go into the multiplayer of Love Live, and I would full combo songs, and I would get a lower score than people who wouldn't full combo their songs but would have better characters than me, right? And so I was like, I mean, I was still enjoying the game, but it was a little frustrating to play the multiplayer and like lose because I just had worse characters than other people. So I was like, okay, if I get a 5-star character, like, I didn't care who I got. I did have favorites, obviously, but I didn't really care who I got as long as I got like characters, as long as I got a 5-star, like a good, decent 5-star, right? So I opened the game, I saved up, the banner comes out, and I pulled on the banner, and it was a temporary banner. You can only pull on it like once or twice before it went away. So I pulled on the banner, I did not get a 5-star on the banner that was guaranteed to be 5-star. So I looked into it, right? I was like, that's strange. Why even after rolling 10, no, I did a full 10 pull. I did not get my 5-star character on the banner that guaranteed the 5. So I was like, that's strange. So I looked into things, right? A little bit. So I had like own IRL friends that played the game with me, right? And they told me, oh yeah, no, I got my 5-star. Like, you know, no problems. Like, we got ours. And I was like, what? Why did I get my 5? So apparently there's a bug or something weird. I don't know exactly what happened. But like, apparently just like, it just wouldn't work for some people, I guess. Like a very small number of people. And I was like, what? I don't know. Like, to this day, I still don't know exactly. I didn't look into it extensively. All I know was that I pulled on this banner and I didn't get my 5-star. Could I have complained? Maybe. Maybe I could have sent a complaint to the company. I think it was Bushiroad. I forgot what the company that made this game was. Because this was back in, like, I don't know, like 2016 or something. Or 2013. I don't freaking know. But, like, I dropped the game soon after that. Because it was, like... I'm so unlucky under normal circumstances. There's no, in God's way, that this would work out that the way they did. And I stopped. And I was very sad. So, Give me a second. I have to, like, double check something. Because there's one more story that I have to talk about in terms of my gacha unluckiness. But I want to make sure that I'm talking about this from like this is a true story and not me being upset and petty. Because I've looked into this in the past and I realized that I might have just been petty. So I want to double check this real quick. Because I do remember complaining about this and then looking into it later and I realized it might not be the case. Okay. Okay. I might not be. Okay, so let me explain. Sorry, I had to look up something real quick to make sure, but basically what happened. I started playing Genshin Impact when Genshin first came out, right? So Genshin Impact is like the gacha game, right? And if I recall correctly, Genshin did not have pity day one. I do not think Genshin had a pity system, or at least not the current... Sorry, I just snapped my neck. I do not think Genshin had its current pity system is the same as it was before. I think they've improved it. The reason why I say this is because when I first started playing Genshin, right? It was around the time when the game first came out, right? And so they were essentially, I enjoyed the game a lot more than I thought because I usually am not a huge fan of open world games because I think open world games can be kind of lame. They like you open up a game there, it's open world, you run around in an empty world, you find like some interesting cool stuff and then realize it's just copy pasted or like some of the stuff isn't that interesting. I thought exploration in Genshin was actually kind of fun overall. There was a lot of different puzzles that you could do. A lot of like random hidden stuff that you could find. There's like, and the game looked pretty darn good. Is it like the best looking game in the world? No, it's not. But I think like the overall settings and stuff looked pretty darn good. So I was enjoying the game. Was I planning on sticking with the game? No. I was probably just going to explore the entire map, do like maybe the main story up to what was available, and then stop playing. Which I think was kind of reasonable because I enjoyed the game, but it wasn't enjoyable enough for me to want to stick with it, right? So this was around the time when they were still releasing like the new banners and stuff, like the initial banners, and the time when Diluc was king, when he was the best character in the game by far. Which if you look at a tier list right now of Genshin, you would notice that Diluc is like at the bottom now, which is very, very funny. But I essentially was playing the game. I was gathering my materials, doing stuff. And then I realized something. They're like, you know, the banner, like I wanted to roll on the banner, right? I was like, you know what? I'm going to roll. I have enough. I have a lot of pulls here. I've like saved up like 60, 70 pulls, right? I think I could roll on this banner and get a decent character, get a decent 5-star character, right? Even if I don't get like a great character, like I'm just rolling for fun basically, because I'm not sticking with this game. I roll and roll and roll, and I got nothing. I was like, all right, that's fine. Like, I didn't really expect it. Like, the chance of me hitting something was like on the lower end. So that's fine. I'm okay with this. Literally, like less than a week later, they updated the pity system and they improved it. Now, I don't know if they did not have a pity system and then they added it later, or if they just made the pity system easier. I'm gonna have to look into it, and I'm not going to because that's too much work. But basically, after I did my poll, they updated the pity system. Either they included it or they made it easier for people to hit. All I know was that all the rolls that I did previously did not apply to the new pity system. They basically reset my pity roll. So if you don't know how pity works in gacha, the way pity works in gacha, generally speaking, especially in terms of Genshin now, is you roll on a banner, and these rolls also carry over to other banners like the pity. And the more you roll without hitting a 5-star, the higher chance you have of hitting a 5-star. Not by a lot. Initially, it's like 0.01% or something. It's like a really low number. I'm not going to say I know the number because I don't. But it's a fairly low percentage chance of hitting. But that slowly increases. Once you hit like 40 to 50 pulls, like the chance increases to like 1% or maybe even 2%. And then once you hit, I think it was like 70 or 80, you get a guaranteed pity where you will always hit the 5-star character. So you can actually guarantee it if you have that many pulls, right? I didn't have enough to hit the pity. I didn't. I was just rolling for the sake of it. But if I was rolling for the pity system, it should have applied moving forward. But I just didn't roll in time. Or I just wasn't paying attention to the news or something. So I rolled, and none of it applied to the new pity system, and I got steamrolled. So, yeah. It didn't matter, I'm gonna be honest with you. It obviously, even if I hit Diluc, like if I hit the best character in the entire game, I would have dropped the game eventually. Well, at the time, the best character. But I would have dropped the game eventually, because Genshin to me was like, this is a fun like few days of content that I could play through, and like enjoy, and then just drop, and then tell people, yeah, I've tried Genshin Impact. I was there when the game started, but you know, I never like really stuck with the game, and I never intended to.
but I still got pretty freaking unlucky there. Yes, there were ways to, get around that. Like, they probably announced somewhere in the news, like, of the patch notes of the game, like, yeah, we're gonna be updating the pity system in like a week or so. So make sure, like, if you're gonna roll, that that we're gonna do that. Like, I'm sure they did something like that along those lines, but like, man, like, I mean, I didn't know. I wasn't checking. I was casual. I was just playing the game for fun. Like, I had the characters I like playing, like Xiangling, and what's her face? Freaking Electric Bird Girl Chuni character. Those two, really fun combination. You just set down your pets and then you just sit there and not do anything while everything explodes. Awesome. It was really funny. Fischl, yeah, Fischl. Xiangling, Fischl, like those two, you set down your little pets and then you just have fun. You just set down your panda, you set down the little bird, everything starts exploding, and then you just like start free hitting with the traveler. I thought the game was pretty fun overall. I also think that just wasn't for me, but it was still pretty fun to play. Like, I was happy with my characters. Oh yeah, I did almost max out my Xiangling during my polls, which you could almost consider to be either good or bad luck. Good, because Xiangling is a pretty good 4-star. She's a really good character. And like maxing out her, I didn't completely max her, but I got pretty freaking close. I got like 3 or 4 copies of her or something during my roll down, which again, you can count as either lucky or unlucky, but because I wanted more characters, right? I wanted to get as many characters as possible, but I just kept getting dupes of the same character. But I also was getting dupes of a character that's really good. Even now, I'm pretty sure people still use her because she's a solid 4-star. But for me at the time, it was unlucky because I just wanted to get all the characters rather than just getting the same character over and over again. But yeah, no, I did enjoy Genshin for what it was. And then I got unlucky, but me being unlucky that time was not the result of me quitting. For Love Live actually Love Live, I probably would have dropped anyways at some point as well, to be honest with you. But Brave Frontier, who knows? I dropped the game because I got a bunch of Homusubis and I was done with the game. I didn't want to play anymore. Freaking just thinking, I still remember the fact that I still remember Homusubi, like the name and the look of that character. Like, I'm not a petty person, normally speaking. Like, I let things go pretty easily if someone wrongs me or if like something like tilts me. I let go of that stuff really easily. So, which should tell you how much this has affected me as a kid. As like a middle schooler, or maybe I think I was hitting around high school around that time, yeah. Around that period of time though, Homusubi freaking comes out, and I still remember his name and what he, like, oh my goodness, I'm still tilted thinking about it. I don't hold on to things, but I'm still holding on to that. That was crazy. Actually freaking insane. Just thinking about it. But I will admit to you guys, ever since I started streaming and with my current gacha games, I've been pretty lucky with my gacha games recently. Like, Tower Fantasy, when I pulled for Tower Fantasy on stream, actually, I don't even know if I pulled on stream. I pulled something. I got pretty lucky. I got one of the characters that's pretty freaking good in Tower Fantasy. Did it matter to me? No. I was going to drop the game anyways. I was pulling for the fun of it, and then I dropped as soon as I was done. But I got a pretty good character from that. What other gacha games have I pulled for recently? Honkai Star Rail. Who the fudge did I get? I don't think I got particularly lucky. I got Dragon Lolly. I don't know her name. She was like the only healer at the time, so I guess that's considered lucky. I heard she got power crept. Like, she was the only healer. That was why she was good. But now, like, there are other healers that are way better than her. But I did get like the only healer, so that was pretty freaking lucky. Wuthering Waves. Who the heck did I get in Wuthering Waves? Oh, I actually posted this in Discord. I remember. I got lucky in Wuthering Waves as well because I actually got what's her face or what's his face. I got Gian, who at the time was like the best. Like by far, he was considered to be like the best character in Wuthering Waves, and I was just rolling for fun, and I got him in literally like 20 pulls or something, 30 pulls. Yeah, I have the screenshot in the games channel, in the Discord, because I remember I posted it. I got him, and I was like, oh my god, I actually got him. I got him in 30 pulls, and I was like, oh my god, that's so unfortunate, because I'm dropping the game. And then soon after I dropped the game, and I offered one of my IRL friends if they wanted my account because I wasn't playing it anymore. But they were like, nah, I'm good. I don't want it. And I was like, okay, that's fair. My current gacha game, the one that I've been sticking with, Nikke. I've been getting overall pretty lucky, although I've had some unlucky moments more recently. So to explain, poor Gian and other characters picked Olita for I got Gian, and then I just immediately dropped the game afterwards. I think Wuthering Waves to me is better than Genshin, by quite a bit, in my opinion. But one major issue that Genshin has over Wuthering Waves is story. Wuthering Waves is plot and story feels like a puzzle that you have to pick apart and figure out, and it's a pain. I freaking hated it. Playing through the game, I had no idea what was going on. It was actually such a pain going through Wuthering Waves and trying to figure out like the overall story outside of like the main plot. Genshin is a lot easier from that perspective. So I would say story-wise, Genshin is better, but character design, I would say like the overall art direction, Wuthering Waves beats out Genshin by far. Combat, Wuthering Waves beats out Genshin. Personally, in my humble opinion. But yeah, for my current game, Nikke. So most gacha games have something called a pity system, or after X amount of pulls, eventually the game will take pity on you and give you like the thing, even though you're like going way over. Nikke does not have pity. You can, if you get unlucky in Nikke, you can pull 100 times and not get crap. But here's a saving grace for Nikke. Nikke has the highest rates for like super rares out of any gacha game like that I've ever seen. To put into perspective, right? Like Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves are like underneath a percent, like way below a percent, or way below a percent chance of hitting a proper character, right? Or of hitting a 5-star character. Honkai Star Rail is a little bit better. I think it's like slightly below a percent actually. Maybe it is 1%. I'm not sure. Honkai Star Rail is a little bit better, and they still have pity. There's a game I played called Reverse 1999. They have a 1% chance of hitting a character. Nikke is 4%. It is a 4% chance of hitting the banner character. So it's a 4% chance of hitting a super rare. And then if it's a banner, it's a 50-50 of you getting the banner character or getting another character, which is most banners out there in gacha. So theoretically, if you look at it, within 30 pulls, you should always be getting a super rare. Always. You should always be getting a super rare every 30 pulls, which is insane. 4% is super high, but there's no pity. So if you get really unlucky, you could just not get hit anything at all. When I first started playing Nikke, I was hitting everything that I could ever want. Every single banner character, I would pull at most 20, maybe 30 times, and I would get the banner character. I was winning every single 50-50. I was getting every banner character. Like, everything was looking awesome. Greedy. I'm not being greedy, Ori, but like, just that I was getting really freaking lucky. Recently, I've been getting really unlucky. Ow. Thank you for the bonker team. I've been getting really unlucky. Your very own harem of strong girls, basically. I guess. I don't know, man. I don't play the game for that reason. I play the game because story and characters. But to be fair, I play the booty game, the fan service booty game. And I know that a lot of people are going to make fun of me for playing that game, which I've accepted at this point. I think the game, in my mind, is too good for me to just drop at this point. But by the way, if you're curious what the sound is, because I've been doing it every once in a while, I have dice on my desk. And I've pretty much just been fidgeting with them this entire time. I've been trying not to fidget with them in a way that would make a lot of noise like this. So I've literally just been like holding up one of my die, and every single time I was talking, sometimes I would just randomly slam a die on my table to emphasize a point for no reason. If you're curious what sound that was. How many die do you have? Interesting question. Each set of die comes with 7, and I have like 9 sets. So like that's 9 times 7. So it's like 56 or something. That's 56, right? 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 8 is 60. Wait, no, 72. It's 63. Sorry. Dang, I don't know my multiplication tables anymore. Holy crap, that's crazy. That's actually insane that I don't remember my multiplication tables. That feels really weird that I don't remember my... Dude, I used to be so good at math, especially multiplication. I don't remember crap. I now understand why. If you guys remember the show, Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? I now understand why adults just did not know the knowledge that at the time as a 5th grader I knew. In my mind, I was like, how could these adults not know about like the history of Mesopotamia? You know? And now I'm like, Mesopo who? But yeah, no. So recently I've been getting really unlucky with Nikke. So as I said, there's no pity system, but they have a really high rate of 4%. So essentially what happened, so Nikke recently had an Evangelion, they had an Evangelion collab, and with that collab, they introduced 4 characters, 3 of which are super rares, and all 3 really good characters. They released Rei, they released Asuka, and they released Maki. Is that her name? Maki? I might be wrong. Yeah, Maki. Or, no, Madi. Frick. Madi, not Maki. Madi. My bad. All 3 characters are really good. Like, really good characters. And they're limited. So if you don't get them during the event, you can't get them, like, ever. So I saved up my pulls. I was like, I'm gonna save so when the Evangelion event comes around, I'll have enough. I saved like 100+ pulls, and I was like, okay, so theoretically, with my 100+ pulls, I should be able to hit at least 2 of the 3 characters, and if I get slightly lucky, I'll hit all 3. So right now, guys, okay, I have all 3 characters. Which you would assume would mean, oh, you got pretty lucky, Sai. You must have gotten real lucky. I got so unlucky. I got so ridiculously unlucky, bro. So they released the banners in like, or one at a time, right? So 1 week they released they released Asuka first. Then they released Rei. Then they released Madi. And there's like a week in between. So they initially started with Asuka, so I was like, I'm gonna pull for her regardless, even if she was good or bad. I'm gonna pull for her because FOMO, because gacha sucks and I hate it, but I still have to pull. So Asuka releases. I'm like, all right, let me pull. It should take me like at most like 60 pulls to hit, right? Percentage wise, right? Because every 30 pulls you should hit a super rare, which means with that, if you lose the 50-50. You should theoretically be able to hit in 60 pulls. I pulled 110 times before I finally got Asuka, which means I was left with 10 pulls to try and get Ray. And I was like, frick. To be fair, out of the 3 characters, Asuka is the best. And Ray is like the weak. Debatable. I would say Ray is the weakest, but all 3 are really, really good characters. So I broke my bank. I'm not like actual, like I did not spend money or real money anyways. So what you can do in Nikke, so there's campaign story quests, and then there are side quests that if you do the side quests, you get gems, you get currency, right? So I have a bunch of side quests that I just kept in my backlog that I never ended up doing. And then the instant I pulled 100 times for Asuka and finally hit after 100 pulls, I was like, I gotta break my bank. So I started doing all the side quests in the game, and I managed to scrounge up like an extra 20 pulls from it, which goes to show exactly how much stuff that I haven't done so that I could get that many extra pulls. So I scrounged up like an extra 20 pulls, and I started rolling for Ray, and I didn't hit. The good thing is the event itself, the event of Nikke, was also giving you free pulls as well. They gave us like a total of, I would say, around like 25 free pulls that you could work with. So I also got an additional 25 over the course of the event, right? So I spent every last gem pulling for Ray, and I hit eventually. So yeah, I got Ray, but there's still Madi, and I was like, frick, I need the FOMO, dude. I need to get Madi. I need to get all 3 Evangelion characters. So I sat there thinking to myself, what the hell? How am I gonna get this character? So remember earlier when I said there's no pity system in Nikke? I lied, kind of. There isn't a pity system, but there is something called tickets. Every single time you pull on a banner, you get a ticket. And if you accumulate 200 tickets, you can cash in your 200 tickets to get the banner character. You could be saying, hey, Sai, that sounds like a pity system. If you roll 200 times, you can guarantee it. You also have to remember, you have to roll 200 times. To put into perspective of like how expensive Nikke can be, if you're buying straight up gems, right? If you're spending $1 per gem in order to get a 10 pull, I believe it's $20. $15 or $20 to get a 10 pull in Nikke. So if you were just straight up spending money, perhaps to get 200 pulls, we're looking at like $300, $400. That's a lot of freaking money to get that kind of, and it takes a lot of time to get those mileage tickets, right? So that sort of pity is ridiculous. 200 for that pity system is actually insane. So which is why technically it's not a pity system. Does it help? Yeah, I've used it to get characters I would not have otherwise been able to, and that's how I got Madi. But you also have to realize that like you have to save a long time for this kind of stuff, and usually you only want to save it for like the characters that are the hardest to obtain. So yeah, I got real unlucky with Ray and Asuka, and I didn't even have any left over to roll for Madi, so I had to use my mileage tickets, which is like my last resort. So is a ticket a random roll too? No. You always get 1 ticket per roll. So you you have to roll 200 times to get 200 tickets. And 200 tickets is the amount that you need to cash in to get a banner character. And again, remember, a 10 pull in this game straight up is worth $15, $20. Which is insane. I think it is exactly worth $20. I'm pretty sure it's worth $20 just straight up. which is insane. That's a lot of money for a whole lot of nothing, potentially nothing. Because this game is can potentially be very expensive. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I've spent money on this game. Have I spent a lot of money? Honestly, probably at this point. I've stopped spending as much, but I've spent at the very minimum, I've spent at least $80 on this game, which is a lot. But in my mentality behind it, I'm okay with spending $80 on this game because right now AAA games are $70 and I could probably play a AAA game for like a couple months at most and then be done with it. Nikke I've been playing for like 2 years. So I feel like spending $80 on a game that I've been playing for 2 years is reasonable, right? I wouldn't say that's the worst thing in the world. Is it good? No. If you take out all the context behind it, I spent $80 on a gacha game, which is insane. But well, $80 minimum. I wouldn't be surprised if I've already hit the $100 mark, but I'm not planning on spending much more on this game. Not really. I enjoy the game, but my account is cracked. I have a really good account. I have pretty much everything you could ever want on my account. Because I've been getting pretty unlucky and I have a lot of... I've been getting unlucky in other moments too, but I have a pretty good account, I would say. And I'm very happy with my account. And thus, I don't feel the need to swipe my credit card as often. Also, I'm very passionate about this game. There aren't many games right now that I'm particularly passionate about, and I surprise myself with how passionate I am about big booty fan service game because I love the story and I love a lot of the characters. Do I like all the characters? No. Not really, no. But I do like a lot of them, which says a lot, I think, because there aren't many games I'd stick with for as long as I have with Nikke. Who knows? I might do like a Nikke exclusive stream one day and just like talk about the game and why it's great and then try and brainwash people. But at the same time, I don't know if I want other people to play the game because I don't know if it's worth it in the end. The main reason being that the main call for me to play the game is the story. But getting through the story actually it's hard. The campaign is hard. It's not easy. Most gacha games, I feel the campaign, like the main story quests, is supposed to be easy. Like if you have an okay decent account, free to play, you should just be able to like cruise through it easy, right? You can't do that with Nikke. Nikke, you actually have to like get a pretty decent team and pretty decent setup in order to clear campaign because it's really freaking hard. It is so hard. Like surprisingly difficult. Which is why I don't know if I could recommend people to play it for the same reasons that I do, because you have to commit to it. And I don't know if the average person would say it's worth committing to. So maybe one day I'll just like play through the game like on a stream and just tell you guys the story and just be like, yeah, this is what you're missing out on. All right, good job. I worked hard. Or you could probably find a YouTube video on it. The game is big enough that I wouldn't be surprised if someone made a YouTube video of like the story of the game. Although to be fair, the story isn't finished yet. We're still waiting for the next few chapters, and I am waiting for it. I will say, I'm about to end stream soon, but last thoughts real quick. I will say it's very funny that the company behind Nikke, so Nikke being, the big booty fan servicey game, released another game. What the fudge was it called? Stellar Blade? Is that what it's called? Stellar Blade. They released another game called Stellar Blade, like an actual single player game. Like a full-on title, not a gacha game. It is also a fan servicey game. It is an action adventure sort of game, like a beat 'em, hack and slash, that kind of thing. It is fan servicey. Like the main characters are female. They show off their curves and whatnot. I heard the game's really good. I heard that game is actually pretty freaking good. Which is really funny that that Shift Up is releasing these fan servicey games that are actually genuinely good games. And I'm so sad I cannot play Stellar Blade because it's on the PlayStation 5. It is a PS5 exclusive, and I do not have a PS5. And there's not enough games on the PS5 to warrant me purchasing a PS5 because that crap's expensive. And if I had the spare funds to purchase a PS5, I might as well just use those funds to just re-debut. I might as well just buy like a new model, a new rig setup. Okay, maybe not. Maybe that's more than the worth of a PS5. That crap is real expensive. But I might as well just start like buying stuff just so I could like rebrand into off-brand Cyrus Apricot. Because I think that would be kind of funny to do. To rebrand and still, rename myself as Sai, because I'm way too used to people calling me that at this point to like try and develop a new thing. But I don't know. I think I would love to play Stellar Blade if it ever comes off the PS5. But for now, unable to do so. Alright. I've yapped for a lot longer than I thought I would. I thought I ran out of things to say 30 minutes in, but as per the good old Cyrus Apricot special, we've somehow stretched out 30 minutes to 2 hours and 13 minutes. So I surprise myself sometimes with how unhinged I can get. I don't even think I'm getting unhinged. I just have a lot to say about a lot of different things. So, sorry, I just picked up my die and now I'm fiddling with it again. I should stop fidgeting so much. You do break your expectations quite often. True, that is very true. I do frequently do that because I think it's mostly just because even though I've moved on from my angsty teen, self-deprecating like phase of my life, I still underestimate myself a lot, and I always like pleasantly surprise myself with like the things I can and cannot do, right? Which is also very strange because I'm also very prideful, and so I take a lot of enjoyment in the things I'm good at, and then showcasing how good I am at stuff, which is why it's part of the reason why starting new games is really weird for me on stream, because I know I'm gonna be bad at them and I hate being bad at things, but it feels good to improve as well, and I think it's fun to share moments on stream anyways. So I don't know. With that said, I'm going to end stream off that. Is there anybody to raid? Probably not. No. Not really. Yeah, not really. Beep beep boop boop boo doo 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 doo. Okay, yeah. Say hi to Ori. I don't know. Actually, has she streamed recently? I actually don't know if she streamed recently. Let me check. I know I checked like a bit ago, but I'm curious. No, she has not. She did like an anniversary stream, and then yeah, she did an anniversary stream at the beginning of this month and then disappeared. I'm glad that she stopped by though, because it means that I might be able to drag her into doing something stupid with me. Let's go. Alright, yeah. I guess that's it for me. Here, let me pull up my sources real quick so I can end this smoothly. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, oh frick. There it is. Good morning, afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time it be for you. If you haven't, please get up, stretch, get a drink of water. And if it's late for you, please go to bed and take care of yourselves. I'll be streaming again Tuesday? Monday. Why I say Tuesday? Tuesday, I'm working all day. I can't stream Tuesday. Monday, I'll be streaming again Monday. Maybe I'll pull a weekend stream. I'm not sure. Those are always like very mood dependent. Like, cause I do have morning shifts on the weekend. So yeah, things are all over the place. In terms of my work schedule, I will say I'm getting a lot better with the consistency with my schedule. I think I'm being consistent enough that I can actually set down a proper schedule. I want to try and stick with it for like another week or two though before I really put it down. But I think we're good enough for that. And who knows, I might turn Friday evenings into like the thingy, into the community nights, or just Friday in general. Maybe just Friday in general. I don't know. We'll see how things go. But yeah, that'll be it from me. See you guys next time. Boop.